Hello, my friends. My name is Ryan Freeman. Welcome to my life. Today, I'm just going to talk about some of the things that have happened over the past week, both related to teaching English at the middle school where I work, as well as outside of teaching English. Perhaps I'll talk about my experiences in jiu-jitsu and some of the places that I've gone to. Life as a foreigner in another country is always a very interesting thing. It can also be challenging. One of the challenges that I've faced over this past very rainy, wet, cold week has been transportation. Whereas I found it fairly easy to get around town by public bicycle or by walking when it wasn't so rainy and cold. With the heavy rains and cold, I've found an extra layer of challenge of trying to keep myself and my things dry and to stay on time with all of the extra layers that you got to pack on. So that's been both challenging and fun. I've often said that challenges, as daunting as they can be, are very rewarding when you get through it. So I'm like one of the only people you see bicycling in the rain over here. Everyone else is either, I don't know what they're doing, taxis, buses, or scooters, or cars. So yeah, and teaching has been very interesting. One of the tragic things that happened to me, not to me, to our whole school, as well as the family of one of the students in one of my classes. I teach about 20. I do teach precisely 20 classes of students, of 7th and 8th graders. And in each class is over 30 students. And so I don't know most of the students by name. I know some of the students who have stood out from their behavior, from their extrovertedness, or for various reasons. Some students I just haven't had a chance to really get to know. And in one of my classes, I had the disturbing and tragic news that one of my students had passed away, had died. This was an 8th grade girl. And I know I had met her. I had talked to her. I remembered her name, vaguely remembered her. So although I couldn't really put her face to the news, it was a very sad and disturbing piece of news. It was kind of hush-hush, I was told, because I'm one of her teachers. I think they wanted me to know, that the class, because I was one of her teachers. I don't know. I found out before the rest of the school. The rest of the school ended up having a little memorial service. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend. I would say by the end of the week, you wouldn't have even known that it had happened. But perhaps in the minds and hearts of many of the students, there's a lot going on. I know that this student was a relatively new student, that I think she might have moved recently or this was like her first year at the school. I was told that the precise cause of death was not explicitly stated, but that it was a suicide from jumping from a tall building, and that it was most likely related to family troubles. I was told that she she came from divorced parents who either both remarried or one remarried, and that was all the information I had. I didn't feel it's a pretty sensitive topic. I didn't feel like I should pry any further. I know that some of her close friends in the class that we shared were deeply affected by it. It made me think. I have always heard that suicide amongst young people was on the rise. I've heard people talk about this on podcasts. I've read articles about it. People talking about social media or pressures and modern pressures and such factors. But this was my first time actually coming into close contact with a teen suicide. And when I was told that it was that a lot of the teen suicides, and I don't know if this is anecdotal or whatnot. I'm getting my information from some of my co-teachers who live here in Taiwan, that a lot of times it is related to family issues. And it made me think a lot about my daughters. I have two daughters, one who is a little past 2.5, one who is a little past 1 year old. They live in Japan with their mother. I have not been able to see them in a very long time. I have actually never met my second daughter. I haven't seen my first daughter in 1.5 years. I used to communicate with them very regularly over video chat, but their mother has decided to really just push me out of their life with nothing I can actually do about it, because they live in Japan and because I'm unable to go to Japan. So it is a very tricky situation. And it made me think, though, about what impact it will have on my daughters not having a father in their life. I don't know. I know that generally it's not good. Generally, most people say that having a loving father in a girl's life is a good thing. And I felt moved to message my wife, who reads my messages but doesn't respond. And my messages are almost just supportive and trying to, reach some type of understanding, and not pestering her or anything like that. But I felt moved to message her and tell her that there was a teen girl who committed suicide, and the primary cause, officially or not unofficially, I'm not quite certain, but the cause told to me was this family issue centered around divorced parents and the remarriage. And I'm not trying to take away from this girl and her tragic story. Unfortunately, I don't know much about her. Of course, it was disturbing to find out and to know what her family must be going through. But it made me think mostly about my girls' mental health, their future mental health, and what I could do to mitigate any sort of potential deep depression or problems that they might encounter in the future from not having me there. So I just try to tell my wife in a brief way, but a meaningful way, what had happened, and try to communicate to her that I do think it's very important to have me in their lives, which she doesn't seem to see or feel. But without actually having a real communication or dialogue with my wife, I can't really actually know that. And you do never know what is best for kids. I mean, you know many things that are best for kids, but I was talking to a friend. One of my friends came to visit me last night, and we had a very deep conversation, long conversation, and she told me that she was deeply troubled from her married parents. And it reminded me of one of my favorite philosophers, Terence McKenna, who thought that the nuclear family was a cauldron for neuroses. So you never really know. You can't guarantee that a child will turn out well or poor, but having a girl throw herself at such a young age, 13 or 14 years old, off a building because of family issues, just sort of, I don't want that to happen to my daughters or any other people's daughters, honestly. And I don't know. It affected me, as I'm sure it would affect anyone in a similar situation. So yeah, that happened. And I guess I'll leave it at that. Maybe I'll talk about another topic and try to separate it from this video, because this video I didn't realize I was going to open up about it as much as I did. There's probably more I could say. I wish I knew this girl more. I wonder how my interactions with her went. I don't know. It's hard to say because I don't really remember her all that clearly. Just her name I remember because it was an unusual name. Anyways, I don't know. There's nothing more for me to say right now. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. My name's Ryan Freeman. I hope that you're having a beautiful day. Bye-bye.